It is indeed, Simon. Last night at Selhurst Park, your old stamping ground, Crystal Palace took on Arsenal. You would see your chum Steve Parrish sitting beside Gareth Southgate. Nice to have you at the game, Gareth. Like a coffee. Anyway, they watched the game together. At the end of it all, Arsenal took all 3 points. But do fans now accept the spectacle of matches being ruined if it gets the end result of less time wasting? Tomiyasu sent off for receiving 2 yellow cards. The first coming via time wasting at a throw-in. Do you think, Simon, that players and managers are beginning to get the memo?
They'll learn. They don't run the game. There's been this movement, and I made it last week, and people might think I'm getting into a conspiracy. I think there's a determined exercise where players and managers think that they run the game rather than work within the confines of it. So there is a real energy from the referees. As you know, I did a podcast last week with Mike Dean, and he was reinforcing the point about the agenda that Harold Webb has. This is not going to be something they're doing and they get bored of and they drop it away at the end of the season. They want to address these issues.
And they'll stick with it.
So if players want to do time waste and get themselves booked, you get what you get.
But it affects the game. Tomiyasu was sent off, and then Arsenal just shut up shop with 10 men, and it's like a constant onslaught from Palace. I mean, if that happened in a Premier League title decider, everybody would say, well, that was the moment that this game turned it in its head.
If it happens on a Premier League title decider, you'll have had 36, 37 games to have learnt your lesson. If you're still that bleeding stupid, then you would have reaped what you've sown. We've got to decide. And it's an agenda. I don't know who started this agenda, because I didn't start the agenda about how much time the ball was in play and how much time wasting was going on. But I remember David Dean coming in here, and lots of people give David a lot of credit about being an innovator and very forward thinking. He was on it. He was talking about stop clocks and looking at the amount of time that ball was in play.
You're blaming him?
No, I'm saying that where has this pain come from?
Right.
Because without there's no gain without pain. I'm saying as a matter of course, how much pain do people think they've got with time wasting the amount of time that the ball was in play? Because if they perceive that to be a pain, then you've got to go through this to get the gain. And the gain is that the players understand their responsibilities, they stop what they're doing, and they realise that they're in the entertainment business, and people that are watching them are equally as important as them.
Good point. There's a message. For years and years, players have wasted time, and they're finally giving out yellow cards now. But then you hear Mikel Arteta trotting out. He trotted out. Let's hear what he trotted out. This was Arteta after Arsenal had took the points.
For me, that's not an issue, if the referee makes that call, and we are consistent with that. I think they explain it. The only thing that we are asking is for consistency, and if not, we need to play with a stopwatch to understand what is it and what is not.
So he wants consistency. I don't know about the stopwatch. He wants consistency, and I get that. But they will be consistent with this because they're determined to nail the time wasters.
Yeah, and what we really want from football managers is an acceptance of that they've brought this upon themselves, and an enhanced level of professional discipline installed in their players, rather than an endless tirade of how they think they can do it better. That's what we get from football managers who most of the time can't conduct themselves properly themselves.
But you said we're in the entertainment business. Football is in the entertainment business. Of course it is, and I get that. It is in that domain. But after the red card, how entertaining was it that Arsenal then banked up and Palace couldn't break them down?
This is the fear that they've avoided for some time, and this is what I believe that referees have had to endure, because we listen to the constant barrage of what referees do and don't do. We never price in the pressures that are put to them by the players on the field, by the gamesmanship, and also by the broadcasters that don't really want to see the best players being taken off the pitch and the spectacle being diminished. But unfortunately, the game has brought it upon himself. The players and the managers are the reasons why we're in this situation. So what they need to do is be very quick studies, shut their mouths, and get on with playing the game. And this will be a non-event. It's a conscious decision. If you decide to waste it, get out of the habit. You got into the habit pretty quick. Get out of the habit. If you've got into the habit of time wasting and you think it's an important part of the game and you think you can roll around on the floor and make a 4-act play out of it, then the consequences of it are you're going to get booked. If you think you can debate with a referee about a decision, if you think you can wave at a referee asking him to book a player, is all part of your gift.
Yeah.
You're a player. Your job is to play.
I tell you what, though, there are still inconsistencies in this for the players directly. Tomiyasu's sitting listening to us this morning thinking, hang on, it was Havertz who time wasted and I get sent off.
There will be errors. Havertz, to me, is the ultimate time waster full stop. I don't know what he is. I don't know what he is to Arsenal. Is he a tax loss or something? Crying out loud, what they bought there. But the point is this, is that there needs to be a consequence. There needs to be a changing in the guard in terms of how the games are controlled. They've identified it as a malaise. I'm assuming the football fraternity, the ones with the most noise, which is the players and the managers, agree that time wasting is not part of the game that we want to see. If they all agree with it, then they'll have no problem in cooperating with it. And if every now and again a mistake is made by targeting the wrong person because someone else did it, well, that's the consequences of your own behaviour.
Yeah. There's some great messages this morning, many of them coming in from people listening and siding with you. It's the players who have brought this upon themselves. There's Bobby down in Weymouth. What needs to be spoken about, gents, is the second yellow. No complaints about the first, but the second was a bit of a disgrace. There was no pull in the shirt. I kind of agree with him on that.
Well, that's fine, but if you don't have a problem with the first one, then the second one's incidental. You get a yellow card for the second one. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
They care because the gormless twit was time wasting in the first one.
Yeah, there's a message. Is Simon happy for spectacles such as big football matches like last night's, for a spectacle like that to be ruined?
I am happy
because time wasting has ruined it. In that, Arsenal get penalised and we're down to 10.
I am happy insofar as we have universally accepted. That's why I brought David into the conversation, because David sat here a year ago suggesting that this was a problem, and that football was going down a rabbit hole in terms of the amount of time wasting. So if it's a problem, what is a solution? Let them do what they want. Get the players involved so they can tell us what they don't want to do, because that's all they ever do. And we'll sit here now. And I honestly, Jim, I almost want to spontaneously combust when I hear managers and players coming out and saying they're tired and they've got to spend more time on the pitch.
Yeah.
And they say it with all good faith, and they say it with serious, straight faces. We're spending 11, 12 minutes extra on a game. Why? Because of your own bloody choices. And you've got the audacity to, in all good conscience, to stand in front of cameras and seriously say we're playing 15 minutes too long. Look what's going to happen. We're going to be playing till midnight. And why would that be?
Yeah.
Because of you lot.
You're almost spontaneously combusting.
It irritates the life out of me.
That'd be fantastic. What an audience we get from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me know when you're about to spontaneously combust and we will tune in. Time wasters, we're not having you. Last night was evidence of that. It's 11:15.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.